So I am off to, where am I going today? Oh, Red Hook. The place that H.P. Lovecraft absolutely hated with immortal passion so much that he wrote a story called The Horror of Red Hook. I think that's what it was called. All right, so to get to Red Hook, you actually have to go walk a mile, 1.4 or 1.7 miles from the nearest subway track, subway station, which is very problematic. That is the reason why a lot of people don't like going to Red Hook. If you're going from Manhattan, there is a water taxi that goes from Wall Street to IKEA, which we're going to go today as well. So it's not a very nice area to walk to, very industrial, lots of gas stations and repair stations, which of course you need in New York City. How else are you going to fix all the cars? Well, I'm definitely in Red Hook. This place is worse than Williamsburg from the looks of it. I mean, it is desolate. One thing I noticed also that was in Dumbo. See this over here, the little opening here. This is the warehouse area that they used to put in food, grains, and coffee that would supply a portion of the Northeast. That's probably circa 1870s, 1850s, still around, still being used. I'm walking through the recreation area of Red Hook. There's a group of lads playing soccer. It's about 40 degrees and there's still snow on the ground and they're wearing shorts. People in Red Hook are very tough people. Very tough. This sign over here says Red Hook soccer field closed. How can people play soccer here? And look at this building over here, right there. I think that looks like an abandoned warehouse. Looks like something out of Frankenstein's tower. Red Hook is weird. This area looks like it's something that you would see like in an action film where the terrorists or the enemies are loading up the docks with neurotoxins to flood the city. It's Joker's headquarters up there, or maybe the Riddler's. I might have seen this in movies before because it looks familiar. I don't know very many warehouses in New York City that are abandoned like this. So this is Red Hook's recreation area. This is the baseball field next to the warehouse. It's riddled with weeds and trees, and over here is the football field. Also, I can't even speak today. It's too cold out here. Also filled with weeds and trees as well. So my reason really to go to Red Hook, and the reason why most people go to Red Hook, is to go to IKEA. It's the only IKEA in all of the city. It's like I'm in Disney. Back from going into IKEA. I didn't take much video footage. I'm sure all of you probably have been to an IKEA. It's very big. Lots of complaining couples, screaming kids, Swedish meatballs. And I got a big blue bag that I'm walking and lugging, and it weighs like 50 pounds. All right. I normally would probably take a car service to get back to home because there's no subway or bus to get home in Brooklyn in this direction, because Red Hook is a transportation island, as they could say. But for you, the viewers, I will purposely walk the extra 1.8 miles to find more interesting sights at Red Hook. Alright, this is interesting what I found. Usually in places, in cities that have cobblestones, they've added them to make it seem like it's, you know, fancy or it's still old age. But these cobblestones, they're actually types of bricks. These are still the original ones from the 19th century. They just never bothered to pave it over. I am back from Red Hook. So one of the things about Red Hook, there was a lot of abandoned baseball fields, abandoned football fields, and so forth. So I did some discovery about what is going on in Red Hook. And at Red Hook in the 1920s and then late 1930s, there was a smelting and refining works that was there. And what happened was there would be lead dust that was thrown up into the air into a 2-mile radius around Red Hook, around the smelting plant. Smelting plant was demolished in 1940, and the block was developed with where the ball fields are located at, as well as soccer fields and so forth. But then in 2014, the New York State Department of Environmental Conservation, along with the EPA, discovered there was high concentrations of lead in the soil around where the location of the smelting plant was. And they also discovered that even the apartment complexes that are nearby also have lead. And they had to shut down, I think, over approximately 14 to 18 locations. Apartment buildings, not apartment buildings, the apartments themselves were closed because of high concentrations of lead. And particularly, it's very bad effects for younger people to be exposed to lead. To make a long story short, that was in 2014. They shut down the ball fields to make sure that children don't get exposed to lead, and they promised within a year to go ahead and fix it. It is now 2018. Nothing was done. They keep delaying it, and there was entire baseball field leagues, little leagues, that had to shut down that were in the neighborhood because they don't have any more baseball fields because they were all shut down because of lead poisoning. So one of the, not to get into politics, but the mayor of New York promised that he would fix it during his first term. One of his election promises, never did it. And well, if anyone is a journalist, that would be an interesting story to review.